You opened your eyes. The room was still dark. The alarm hadn't gone off yet. You reached for your phone, and there it was. 6:53, 7 minutes before you set it to ring, and for a second, you just lay there, wondering, how did that happen? It's one of those things that happens so often we stop asking about it. We chalk it up to coincidence, to light sensitivity, to sleeping lightly that particular night. But here's what nobody tells you. What your body did in those final minutes before your alarm wasn't accidental. It was a deliberate, coordinated biological operation that started hours before you woke up, and the mechanism behind it reveals something about your brain that's far more sophisticated than most people ever realize. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what your body was doing while you slept, and the revelation about why it wakes you up early is going to change how you think. About sleep itself. Most of us think of sleep as the absence of activity. You close your eyes, the brain more or less goes quiet, and you resurface in the morning. So the idea that your body could be tracking time while you're unconscious, preparing to wake you up at a specific hour, feels almost impossible. How could something that isn't conscious keep track of a schedule? The intuitive answer is usually, you were sleeping lightly, or the light came through the window, or it was pure coincidence that happened enough times you started to notice it. Every single one of those answers, it turns out, misses what's actually happening. If you want to understand what your body and mind are doing while you sleep, while you eat, while you feel anything at all, this channel exists exactly for that. Subscribe now, and don't miss any of these discoveries. Let's start with what most people assume is the explanation. You're a light sleeper who woke up from external stimuli, sounds, light, movement, and the alarm was just about to go off anyway. This happens sometimes. That's true. But it doesn't explain what happens when the same phenomenon occurs in completely darkened rooms, with earplugs in environments with no external cues at all. It doesn't explain why people report waking up at unusual times they set an intention for the night before, say 5:45, on a day they have an early flight even, without ever setting an alarm. And it certainly doesn't explain what the research has actually found when scientists started measuring what happens inside the body in the hours approaching a planned wake time. Because this is where it gets fascinating. Your body contains a timekeeping system of extraordinary precision. It's called the circadian clock, from the Latin circadium, meaning around the day, and it's not one thing located in one place. It's a distributed network of biological clocks synchronized throughout virtually every organ in your body. Your liver, your kidneys, your lungs, your skin, and most critically, a tiny region in your brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or SIN. This cluster of about 20,000 neurons sits in the hypothalamus and acts as the master clock. It receives direct input from the light-sensitive cells in your retinas and uses that information to synchronize everything else. Every cell in your body has molecular clock machinery, proteins that cycle through a roughly 24-hour loop, rising and falling in a rhythm that governs when each organ does what it does. Sleep, wakefulness, digestion, hormone release, immune function, body temperature, all of it is timed. All of it is coordinated. Your body is not a machine that turns off at night. It's a machine running a 24-hour program. And sleep is not downtime. Sleep is one of the most active phases of that program. Now here's where the alarm connection comes in, and this is the part that surprises almost everyone. Research published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism found something remarkable. In the hours before a planned, anticipated wake-up time, the body begins a coordinated biochemical preparation process. Core body temperature starts rising slightly, because lower temperatures are associated with deep sleep, and the body needs to bring you back up toward the thermal range of wakefulness. Cortisol levels begin climbing. Cortisol is often called the stress hormone, which gives it an unfairly bad reputation. In this context, it's functioning as an activating signal, a gentle neurochemical alarm that primes the brain and body for the demands of being awake and alert. Heart rate increases incrementally. Blood pressure begins its morning rise. This entire cascade starts not at the moment of waking, It starts roughly 90 minutes to 2 hours before. Your body is not reacting to the alarm. It's preparing for wakefulness before the alarm ever goes off. But how does it know when to start? This is the part that requires a moment to sit with. The circadian system is predictive, not reactive. It doesn't respond to the moment of waking, it anticipates it. If you consistently wake at the same time over days and weeks, your internal clock calibrates to that pattern. It learns when wakefulness is expected and begins the preparatory cascade accordingly. This is why people who wake at 6 am every day for years often find themselves awake at 6 am on weekends even when they desperately want to sleep in. The body has learned the expected time of waking and initiates the process whether you want it to or not. Now here's the thing that changes everything you just learned. The detail that takes this from interesting to genuinely remarkable. Studies have shown that this anticipatory preparation can be influenced by intention. In sleep research at the University of Lübeck in Germany, participants were told they would be woken at a specific time. Some were told 6 am, others were told 9 am. All groups slept in controlled conditions. The cortisol surge, the preparation cascade, began early and peaked before the expected wake time only in the group that anticipated waking at 6 am. The group told to sleep until 9 showed no early cortisol surge. The expectation of a specific wake time altered the timing of a hormonal cascade that the participants had no conscious control over. Your brain heard the instruction, passed it somehow into the circadian system, and the system prepared accordingly. How exactly that translation happens, how the conscious knowledge of a set alarm time communicates itself to the hormonal system, is still an active area of research. The hypothesis that currently has the most support involves the hippocampus, memory consolidation during sleep, and how the brain processes expectations during REM phases. But the behavioral and hormonal evidence is clear, the anticipation is real and measurable. And here's something that almost no one thinks about when this conversation comes up. A connection that reframes everything you just understood. The same mechanism that wakes you up before your alarm is also what makes jet lag so disabling. When you fly across time zones, your external cues, light, meal times, social activity, shift abruptly. But your internal clock is calibrated to your home time. The skin resets gradually, about 1 to 1.5 hours per day. Your hormones, your digestion, your cognitive function all continue firing at your home schedule for days while your environment demands something completely different. The exhaustion of jet lag isn't just sleepiness. It's the systemic disruption of a precision biological program trying to recalibrate an entire orchestra of organs to a new time zone. The accuracy that impresses you when you wake up 7 minutes before your alarm is the same system that makes you feel destroyed in Tokyo on day 2 of an international trip. So what this whole mechanism reveals, at the deepest level, is that your body is not operating in the present moment. It is constantly operating in anticipation of the next moment. Your biology is a prediction machine. It doesn't wait for you to need warmth. It starts warming you before you need it. It doesn't wait for you to decide to wake up. It starts preparing you for wakefulness while you're still unconscious. Every organ, every hormone, every cellular clock is oriented toward what comes next. This is why disrupting your sleep schedule isn't just about feeling groggy the next day. You're not just losing sleep, you're desynchronizing a predictive system that governs nearly every function in your body. Knowing that your body tracks time while you sleep, prepares for your alarm before it rings, and adjusts to your expectations even when you're unconscious, that's not a curiosity. That's the body behaving like something far more sophisticated than most of us give it credit for being. Have you ever woken up before your alarm without being able to explain how? Tell me in the comments, how many minutes before did you wake up, and was it on a day you had something important? Your body already knows what comes next. The question is whether you're living in a way that lets it do its job.